How many Geometry Dash main levels can you beat as a swing copter? Here are the rules. 1. You have to play the level as intended, meaning you can't skip sections, and you have to enter through every gap, with the exception of going for coins. 2. You have to get all 3 coins. 3. The original Cube and Robot game modes will have the camera free, but every other game mode will make the camera limited. And 4. I'm allowed to use practice mode when things get too difficult. The reason for this is that the question is if beating the levels is possible, not if I can beat it in one attempt. With the rules out of the way, let's get started. Starting off with Stereo Madness, everything went just as normal until I messed up on this section. But on my second attempt, I made it and kept on going. The ship section was just as easy as the original ship section. The first real challenge was getting the first coin. I got 2 coins on my next attempt, but I died when trying to get the third coin. After struggling a few more times, I beat the level on attempt 12. Back on track is when I started to discover a glitch where I would die if I touched the ground, but that setback didn't stop me from continuing the challenge. In the beginning, some gaps were hard to get through. The first coin and second coin were easy to get. The real issue was trying to fit through these gaps. I kept on dying at early parts of the level and could barely make it to those gaps again. At that point, I realized how long this challenge would take if I struggled it back on track, so I decided to use practice mode to beat the level. I struggled some more, went through more annoying gaps, got the third coin, and I finally beat the level. In Poltergeist, I struggled just like back on track. This struggle will continue for the rest of the video. The first coin was easy, just like the normal ship section. For the second coin, I dived between these 2 slabs to enter this gap. For the third coin, I flew up and immediately came back down. These gaps at the final part of the video annoyed me because there were so many. At first, I didn't even believe it was possible. They're all possible to go through though, so I was able to finish. Dryout had a similar formula as Poltergeist, so I was able to beat it a lot quicker. For the first coin, I had to dive for it. At the upside down part, there were more gaps and I died, so I immediately turned on practice mode. It was a little harder, but I made it through. For the second coin, I went over this gap, and the third coin was just like the ship part. I finished the level in only 35 attempts. The first coin for base after base looked impossible, but I just had to go under the platform. The second coin I dove just like always, and the third coin was again just like the ship. I beat the level in around 70 attempts. Can't Let Go was the first level that was impossible to beat. The first section went as normal, but in the next section, there was this small gap that was way below me. There wasn't enough time to set myself up properly from the previous gaps, and even if I could have made it, I'm not sure if it would have been possible to get back up in time. Jumper started off normal, but the upside down mode made me immediately turn on practice mode. The majority of my time was spent trying to pass through these spikes. I got through the first coin on my first try, I got the second coin as intended, as well as the third. I beat the level in around 71 attempts. Time Machine was a lot more difficult. Gaps were a lot more tighter, and I had to time things better. The first coin was easy with my increased skills. For the second coin, I wiggled my way through these spikes. With these gaps, I struggled many times. It took over 100 attempts to get through. The last coin wasn't that difficult to get. After some more struggling and more annoying gaps, I beat the level in around 220 attempts. In Cycles, this design took a lot of attempts to get through, but wiggling seemed to get the job done. After some more tight spaces, I made it to the ball part. The first coin was easy to get. On the ship part, there was some difficult timing I had to do in order to go through each portal. I got the second and third coin, but the third coin took a bit of time to get. I beat the level in 130 attempts. X-Step was similar to Cycles. No part was extremely difficult, and everything went just like normal. I beat the level in 90 attempts. Clutterfunk started off normal. When I became small, the swing copter was a lot more difficult to control. I was able to play the ball part as if I were an actual ball. The first 2 coins were easy to get, but then I stumbled onto a problem. There was no way for me to pass through this gap. The reason for this is that when the swing copter is on a block, it takes a longer time to fall compared to the cube. So unfortunately, that makes this level impossible to complete. Theory of Everything took me 30 minutes to complete, and the sole reason for this is the second coin. As a mini-ship, it's very easy to get, but as a mini swing copter, it's very difficult. You move up and down almost exponentially fast, giving you very little time to change your direction. It took me literally 300 attempts to get the coin, making it possible to continue on. The third coin also seemed impossible, and I had no idea if I was truly getting the coin because I was in practice mode and I seemed far away from the coin. But I attempted it in normal mode and found out I was in fact getting the coin. And with that, I was able to beat the level after 400 attempts. Clubstep was the first demon level, so I had to change my icon to lock in. Like always, there was more struggle, so nothing new about that. The only part worth mentioning is getting through this ship section. These portals would immediately fling me upwards or downwards, so I had to double-click or triple-click to keep myself steady. I got all the coins and was able to beat the level in 450 attempts. Electrodynamics was another one of the easy levels. Everything was normal until I tried to get the third coin. There was no way for me to dive at the right angle to get it. This makes electrodynamics an unbeatable level, so I guess it wasn't that easy. Hexagon Force was a level that only took 88 attempts to beat. The dual parts were hard to beat, especially the dual ball section, but I was able to finesse my way through. The coins weren't even that difficult. I was proud of myself in blast processing. In one attempt, I progressed all the way to the choke point. The swing copter is way too big on the dual wave section, so it was physically impossible for me to progress. On the first wave part, I was able to slide my way through. Theory of Everything 2 was like club step, tight gaps, annoying portals, and other stuff. I got all 3 coins and beat the level in 233 attempts. I got through the robot part and ship part in Geometrical Dominator, but the wave was impossible. I wasn't able to cheese my way through this time. The swing copter moves too slow, so I wasn't able to complete the level. I beat Deadlocked in 190 attempts. There's not much to say about this level, it played very similar to the normal level. Finger Dash ended right at the spider game mode. There was no way for me to teleport up and down. Dash also ended at the spider game mode. On the second spider part, I can't teleport to the back wall, making this final level impossible to beat. Oh yeah, at the end I realized I forgot Electroman Adventures, so I went through that real quick. The beginning was easy, but once I got to the cube part with the blue pads, it became impossible for the swing copter. In the end, I was able to beat 14 out of 22 levels. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.